When I was in high school, probably like a lot of you, I took Spanish. And probably like a lot of you, your Spanish high school did not teach you a whole heck of a lot. I learned how to say things like uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis. It rhymes, kind of easy. I learned how to say nosotros. I don't know whether that has any value since pronouns aren't really used in Spanish. But my friends and I, when I was in high school, would do things like ditch on a Friday and go down to what we called local Mexico, which was Tijuana, Rosarito, Ensenada. Sometimes we would go and spend a weekend down there and have some fun. And so as a result of that, I learned a little bit of Spanish. But then when I was in my mid-20s, my wife and I took a condensed Spanish course at Long Beach City College over 3 weeks in June. And it was a class that met something like 4 days a week for 3.5 hours at a time. And we were prepping for a big trip we were going to do to Mexico. And when we went down to Mexico, we landed in the Yucatan, and we were in Cancun, a place that maybe some of you have been to before. And off of Cancun, there's an island called Isla Mujeres. And there were a couple of ways to get over there. You could take the tourist boat over there, but we were college students, so we didn't really take the tourist boat. We went with the local boat, such as it was. And we were standing on the dock, and there were a lot of people there. And after having taken this Spanish course with this man named Mario Sokolov, who was the son of Russian Jewish immigrants, but he loved Spanish. He did his master's thesis on the use of the letter X in Spanish and how the Spanish themselves, when they had reached the Americas and they encountered all of these indigenous languages that, of course, they didn't really understand, when there were sounds that they didn't know, they would just put an X there, like Xochimilco or Oaxaca or Uxmal. So just things that they put in there. And the result of that was that you had all of these different sounds that were represented by this one letter, X, which kind of means exactly that, X. And so he loved Spanish. He went down to Mexico and he fished regularly. And he, as a result of that, became a Spanish professor. And we took his course, and he was a fabulous, just fabulous teacher. I also had another really great Spanish teacher at Long Beach City College named Senora Cano. And she was from East LA, and also she could wave this wand over you and make you understand the language. And so in 3 weeks, we took this very intensive course. And we were standing on the dock, and some people were speaking to us. And as they were speaking to us, we were speaking all in Spanish. And we were talking about where we're going and what we're doing in the boat and going over to the island and things we were doing in Cancun and all of this. And at some point, they said something along the lines of, "You speak Spanish really well. Habla español muy bien." And I looked at them, and I remember distinctly, there was this family of maybe about 8 people. And I said, "Estoy embarazado." I was just taking words and translating them directly from one language to another, which a lot of times can work. In this case, it doesn't work, because immediately their eyes went like this. They were looking at my eyes, and then they went like this, and they looked down at the center of my body. And then they looked back up at me with this puzzled look. And the conversation kind of came to an end, and I didn't really understand why. And then later, after we got back on the boat and we were at the hotel in Cancun, I think I was talking to somebody about this, and the person explained to me that word that sounds like embarrassed, like I was telling them that, I was sort of flattered by what they were saying to me, it actually means pregnant in Spanish.